Commander Park Min-jun stood at the main window of Earth Defense Station, watching something that should have been impossible. Thousands of massive ships appeared in space around Earth, like dark clouds blocking out the stars. Each ship was bigger than anything humans had ever built. The largest ones looked like floating cities, made of black metal and glowing red lights. "Sir, we count 2,047 enemy ships," said Lieutenant Kim Jae-ho from his station. His voice was steady, but Park could see his hands shaking as he worked the controls. "They just came out of hyperspace in perfect formation. We've never seen technology like this." Park nodded slowly. He had been expecting this day for 20 years, but seeing it happen still made his heart race. The Zeltharian Empire had finally found Earth. These aliens had conquered hundreds of worlds across the galaxy. Their ships carried weapons that could turn entire planets into dust. "Get me Captain Lee So-young on the communication line," Park ordered. Lee was Earth's best diplomat, and they would need her skills now, more than ever. The main screen showed the largest enemy ship. It was 5 kilometers long and covered with weapon systems that could destroy moons. Lights blinked across its dark hull, like angry red eyes. This was the flagship of Admiral Vex-Tar, the most feared military commander in the galaxy. Lee So-young appeared on the screen. She was in the diplomatic center, surrounded by screens showing news from across the galaxy. Other alien species were watching what happened to Earth. Most of them looked sad, like they were watching friends about to die. "The message is coming in now," Lee said. "Admiral Vex-Tar wants to speak directly to our leadership." The main screen changed to show an alien face that looked like a cross between a lizard and a shark. Admiral Vex-Tar had dark scales, glowing red eyes, and teeth designed for tearing flesh. When he spoke, his voice was deep and cold like winter wind. "Primitive humans," Vex-Tar said, "I am Admiral Vex-Tar of the Zeltharian Empire. Your small world has been chosen to join our empire. You have 24 hours to surrender completely. Give up your weapons, accept our rule, and some of you will be allowed to live as our workers." The alien smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. "If you refuse, we will destroy every human city. We will burn your forests and poison your oceans. Your species will exist only in our history books as another world that chose death over wisdom." Park looked at the tactical display. Earth had 50 defense ships, all much smaller than the smallest enemy vessel. Any military expert would say this was hopeless. The math was simple and terrible. Dr. Kim Hae-won entered the command center. She was Earth's chief strategist and one of the smartest humans alive. She carried a datapad and looked surprisingly calm for someone watching the end of the world. "The galaxy is watching," she said quietly to Park. "The Altarian Council sent a message. They feel sorry for us, but they say resistance is impossible. No one has ever defeated a Zeltharian fleet this size." Park studied the enemy formation. The alien ships were positioned perfectly around Earth. They had blocked every escape route and covered every approach. It was the work of a master tactician who had done this many times before. "They're not even scanning for hidden defenses," Dr. Kim noted. "They think we're too primitive to have any real weapons." Captain Lee worked at her station, preparing Earth's official response. Park watched her face and saw something interesting. She looked nervous, but not defeated. There was something in her eyes that looked almost like anticipation. The hours passed slowly. Around the world, humans went about their daily lives. Some people were scared and stayed in their homes. Others continued working, going to school, and playing with their children. It was strange to see such normal life continuing under the shadow of the alien fleet. News reports showed the enemy ships from different angles. Scientists on television tried to explain the alien technology, but they could only guess. The Zeltharian ships used power sources that human science barely understood. As the deadline approached, something changed in Earth's command centers. Instead of panic or despair, There was an odd feeling of quiet preparation. Military officers moved with purpose, not fear. Scientists checked equipment that wasn't supposed to exist. With 1 hour left before the deadline, Park received reports from around the world. All Earth defense forces were ready. All civilian shelters were prepared. All communication networks were active and waiting. 30 minutes remaining, Lieutenant Kim announced. Lee So-young finished writing Earth's response. She looked at Park and Dr. Kim, then smiled in a way that seemed too confident for someone facing impossible odds. "Are we really going to do this?" she asked softly. Dr. Kim nodded. "We've been preparing for this moment for 2 decades. Everything we've built, everything we've hidden, it was all for this day. After signed. Nodded in. Park understood. For 20 years, humanity had been playing a careful game. They had appeared weak and primitive to the galaxy, while secretly developing technologies that no one suspected. The deception had been perfect, and now it was time to reveal the truth. 10 minutes remaining, Kim announced. Admiral Vextar appeared on screen again. "Humans, your time is almost finished. Surrender now and accept your place in our empire. This is your final chance to save your species from extinction." Lee So-young looked at Park. He nodded once. She activated the communication system and spoke directly to the alien commander. Her voice was clear and strong, without any fear. "Admiral Vextar, we have considered your generous offer carefully. After full discussion with our leadership and our people, Earth's answer is simple. We decline." The alien's red eyes grew brighter with anger. "Then you have chosen death, foolish humans. In 1 hour, your cities will burn." The communication ended. Park looked out at the massive enemy fleet surrounding Earth. Soon, those ships would learn something that no one in the galaxy suspected. Humanity was not as helpless as they appeared. The game was about to change completely. "Send the message," Park said quietly. Across Earth, hidden systems activated. Deep in secret facilities, people who had trained their whole lives for this moment began their final preparations. In a place that existed between dimensions, a crew of 500 brave souls heard the signal they had been waiting for. The war for Earth was about to begin. Dr. Kim Hae-won led Park Min-jun through corridors deep beneath Earth Defense Station. These levels didn't appear on any official building plans. They walked past laboratories filled with equipment that seemed to bend light around itself and computers that hummed with strange energy. "How long have you been lying to me?" Park asked, though he wasn't angry. He was amazed. 23 years, 2 months, and 16 days, Dr. Kim replied with a small smile. "Ever since Captain Jung Woo-jin came back from first contact with the Altarian Council." They entered a secure briefing room where Captain Jung was waiting. He was older now, with gray hair and tired eyes. But he still stood straight like the military officer he had always been. Next to him sat Dr. Shin Min-ah, the physicist who had disappeared from public view 15 years ago. Everyone thought she had died in a research accident. "Show him," Captain Jung said simply. Dr. Shin activated a holographic display that filled the center of the room. It showed Earth from space. But something was wrong with the image. There were strange distortions around the planet, like looking through water. "What you're seeing, Doctor," Shin explained, "is dimensional fold space. We learned to create pockets of reality that exist alongside our normal universe. Think of it like a shadow that only we can see." The hologram zoomed in on one of the distortions. Slowly, the image cleared to show something incredible. A massive warship hung in space that wasn't quite space, invisible to any normal sensors. The ship was 2 kilometers long and built with technology that looked like it came from dreams. "The UHNS Defiance," Dr. Kim said proudly. "Humanity's first and only reality phase warship. It exists in quantum superposition, hidden in fold space until we need it." Park stared at the image. The ship was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Its hull seemed to shift between different metals, and energy patterns flowed across its surface like living lightning. "This is impossible," Park whispered. "We don't have technology like this. No one in the galaxy has technology like this." Captain Jung leaned forward. "That's exactly what we wanted everyone to think. When I first met the aliens 23 years ago, I learned something important. Every species that showed their full strength too early either got enslaved or destroyed. So we made a choice. Technolotter. And we know. Truth rise." Dr. Shin continued the story. "We appeared weak and primitive to the galaxy. We traded simple technologies and asked for help with basic problems. Meanwhile, our best scientists worked in secret, developing things that no one thought possible. The hologram changed to show the ship's interior. Hundreds of people moved through corridors filled with equipment that glowed with soft blue light. They wore uniforms that Park had never seen before, and they worked with calm efficiency. 500 volunteers, Dr. Kim said. They've lived aboard the Defiance for the past 10 years, training for this exact moment. They know they might have to save our entire species with one battle." Park watched the crew members on the display. They looked human, but they moved with the confidence of people who had mastered impossible technology. "What kind of weapons does it have?" "Not reality disruption cannons, Dr. Shin answered. "They don't fire energy or matter. They fire controlled chaos that can tear holes in space-time itself. When they hit something, that something stops existing in our dimension." The display showed technical diagrams that hurt to look at. The mathematics involved concepts that stretched the limits of physics. "The power source?" Park asked. "Controlled quantum collapse engines," Dr. Shin said. "We learned to harvest energy from the spaces between atoms. One engine produces more power than our entire planetary grid." Captain Jung stood and walked to the window, though it only showed the underground walls of the secret facility. The hardest part wasn't building the technology. It was keeping it secret while pretending to be helpless. "Do you know how many times I wanted to tell the Zeltharians to leave our neighbors alone? How many worlds could we have saved if we had revealed ourselves earlier?" "Why didn't you?" Park asked. "Because we needed to be ready, Doctor," Kim answered. "The Zeltharians conquer through overwhelming force. If we had shown partial strength, they would have brought even more ships. We needed to wait until we could end the threat completely." The communication system activated. Captain Lee So-young's voice came through clearly. "Zeltharian ships are beginning to move into attack positions. Admiral Vextar has ordered bombardment to begin in 30 minutes. Dr. Kim touched a control panel, and new displays showed the current situation above Earth. The alien fleet was repositioning, with the largest ships aiming their weapons at major human cities. Millions of people were about to die. "It's time," Captain Jung said. Dr. Shin activated a communication system unlike anything Park had ever seen. Instead of radio waves or quantum entanglement, it seemed to reach across dimensions themselves. "Defiance, this is Control," she spoke into the device. "Authorization code. Humanity endures. You are clear to phase into normal space." A voice responded, calm and professional. "Control. This is Captain Choi Sung-hoon, commanding UHNS Defiance. We copy authorization code. All systems are ready. Quantum displacement field is stable. Reality disruption cannons are charged and standing by." Park realized he was holding his breath. Everything humanity had worked for, everything they had sacrificed and hidden, came down to this moment. "Captain Choi," Dr. Kim said, "Earth's children are counting on you." "Understood, Control." "Defiance crew has trained for this their entire lives. We will not fail." The displays showed the Zeltharian fleet beginning their attack. The first energy beams lanced down toward Earth's surface, striking empty areas as a warning. Admiral Vexitar was giving humans one final chance to surrender before the real destruction began. Phase transition in 10 seconds, Captain Choi's voice announced. All crew, prepare for dimensional shift. Park watched the fold space display. The hidden ship began to glow brighter as it prepared to enter normal space. 23 years of secrets were about to be revealed to the galaxy. 5 seconds, Captain Choi counted down. 4, 3, 2, 1. Dimensional shift now. On every screen showing space around Earth, reality itself seemed to tear open. A massive rift appeared in the center of the Zeltharian fleet, crackling with energy that made instruments across the system scream warnings. And from that rift, something impossible emerged. The UHNS Defiance phased into normal space, like a dream becoming real. The ship appeared among the enemy fleet, its hull shining with quantum fire and its weapons already charging for battle. This is Captain Choi Sung-hoon of the United Human Naval Ship Defiance, came the broadcast on all frequencies. Zeltharian fleet, you have attacked our home. You have threatened our families. Now you face what we hoped never to reveal. Admiral Vextar's furious voice cut through space. Impossible! Humans don't have technology like this. Captain Choi's response was calm and certain. Admiral, you're about to learn that humans are full of surprises. The real battle was about to begin. The space around Earth exploded with light as reality tore itself apart. The dimensional rift grew larger, crackling with energy that made every sensor in the Zeltharian fleet scream warnings. Colors that had no names painted the darkness as the UHNS Defiance emerged from fold space. Captain Choi Sung-hoon stood on the bridge of humanity's greatest secret. Around him, his crew worked with calm precision at stations that seemed to be made from crystallized starlight. Lieutenant Commander Yang Jae-min reported from the tactical station, his voice steady despite the magnitude of what they were doing. All systems showing green, Captain. Quantum displacement field is stable. We are fully phased into normal space. Chief Engineer Park Ji-won's voice came from the engine room. Reality disruption cannons are charged to 60% and climbing. Quantum collapse engines are running smooth. We have enough power to fight for days, if needed. Captain Choi looked at the main display, which showed the massive Zeltharian fleet surrounding them. 2,000 alien warships, each one capable of destroying cities, now faced a single human vessel. The odds should have been impossible. Communications. Open a channel to the fleet, Choi ordered. Channel open, sir. Choi activated the ship's external speakers. His voice would now be heard by every ship in the enemy fleet, and by everyone watching from Earth below. Zeltharian fleet, this is Captain Choi Sung-hoon of the United Human Naval Ship Defiance. You came to our home with weapons of war. You threatened the lives of our children. You offered us slavery or death. His voice remained calm, but every word carried the weight of humanity's response. We reject both options. Admiral Vextar's flagship was close enough that Choi could see its bridge through the viewing ports. The alien commander was clearly visible, his scaled face twisted with rage and disbelief. Impossible! Vextar's voice crackled across the communication channels. Human ships are primitive. You cannot have technology beyond ours. Admiral, Choi replied, you have made the same mistake that many others have made. You confused, appearing weak with being weak. The alien commander studied the human ship through his instruments. The readings made no sense. The vessel appeared to be constructed from matter that existed in multiple dimensions at once. Its energy output was beyond anything in the Zeltharian database. All ships, focus fire on the human vessel, Vextar commanded. Destroy it immediately. 2,000 warships turned their weapons toward the Defiance. Plasma cannons that could melt asteroids charged to full power. Quantum torpedoes that could crack moons loaded into their tubes. Gravitational disruptors that could tear apart space itself, prepared to fire. Captain Choi watched the tactical display as every enemy ship locked weapons onto his vessel. Any other ship in the galaxy would have been vaporized instantly by such concentrated firepower. "All crew, brace for impact," he announced calmly. "Quantum phase armor to maximum deflection." The Zeltharian fleet fired as one. Space filled with energy beams, exploding torpedoes, and gravitational distortions. The combined firepower could have destroyed a small planet. All of it struck the Defiance directly, and did absolutely nothing. The energy beams passed through sections of the ship that existed in folded space. The torpedoes exploded against armor that was partially outside normal reality. The gravitational weapons tried to affect matter that wasn't entirely in their dimension. "Damage report?" Choi requested. "No damage, Captain," Yang reported with satisfaction. "Quantum phase armor is working perfectly. Our hull exists in 17 different dimensional states simultaneously. Conventional weapons cannot affect us." Through his communication system, Choi could hear confusion and panic spreading through the enemy fleet. Alien voices shouted in their own languages, as their most powerful weapons proved useless. "How is this possible?" Vextar demanded over the open channel. "Nothing can survive that much firepower." "Admiral," Choi replied, "you're learning the difference between technology and understanding. Your people build powerful weapons, but you never learn to think beyond 3 dimensions." The human captain turned to his weapons officer. "Chief Tactical Officer Bae Yoon Seo, target the enemy command ship. Minimal power setting. We don't want to hurt their escape pods." Bae's hands moved across controls that seemed to be made from solid light. "Reality disruption cannon 1 locked onto target, Captain. Charging to 15% power. Fire when ready." On the main display, everyone could see the Defiance's primary weapon charging. Strange energy patterns flowed along the ship's hull, toward a cannon that looked like it was built from crystallized space itself. The weapon didn't glow like normal energy weapons. Instead, it seemed to absorb light, creating a dark spot in the fabric of reality. "Firing now," Bae announced. The reality disruption cannon fired a beam that looked like controlled chaos. It wasn't made of energy or matter, but of pure possibility, made solid. The beam struck Admiral Vextar's flagship directly. The massive alien warship didn't explode. It didn't burn or break apart. It simply stopped existing in normal space. One moment it was there, 5 kilometers of advanced technology and thousands of crew members. The next moment, there was empty space where it had been. Silence filled the communication channels. Every being in the fleet, human and alien alike, stared at the spot where the flagship had been. It hadn't been destroyed. It had been removed from reality itself. "What did you do?" came a terrified voice from one of the remaining Zeltharian ships. Captain Choi's voice remained calm and professional. "We scattered your flagship's atoms across multiple dimensions. The crew had time to reach escape pods, which our sensors show are undamaged in nearby space." Young checked his instruments. "Captain, I'm reading massive power buildup from the remaining enemy ships. They're preparing another attack." "Very well," Choi replied. "Bae, target the nearest heavy cruiser. Same power setting." The second shot took only moments to charge and fire. Another alien warship simply vanished from existence, leaving only its escape pods behind. Then another, and another. With each shot, the panic in the enemy fleet grew stronger. These weren't just weapons that could destroy ships. These were weapons that could erase them from existence itself. "Stop. We surrender," came desperate voices from dozens of alien vessels. But Captain Choi continued firing, not from cruelty or revenge, but from necessity. Every shot was carefully aimed to destroy ships while allowing crews to escape. The message had to be absolutely clear. "Why don't you stop?" Vextar's voice came from an escape pod, filled with rage and confusion. Captain Choi answered while his weapons continued their methodical work. "Because, Admiral, This can never happen again. Your empire built its power on threatening innocent people. Today, that power ends. The reality disruption cannons fired again and again. Each shot removed another piece of the mighty Zeltharian fleet from existence. In the space around Earth, the most powerful military force in the galaxy was disappearing like mist in the morning sun. On Earth below, every human watched the impossible battle. Their hidden protectors had finally revealed themselves, and the enemy that seemed invincible was proving to be nothing more than another bully who had finally met someone stronger. The battle that was supposed to last hours was already nearly over. And it had only been 6 minutes since the Defiance first appeared. The space around Earth had become a graveyard of imperial ambition. Where 2,000 Zeltharian warships had once formed a perfect blockade, now only empty space remained. Dotted with the blinking lights of escape pods, the UHNS Defiance moved through the former enemy formation like a shark among minnows, its reality disruption cannons firing with mechanical precision. Captain Choi Sung-hoon watched the tactical display with calm satisfaction. Each shot from his weapons removed another piece of the empire that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries. The Zeltharian ships tried to flee, but their hyperspace engines couldn't activate fast enough to escape. 6 minutes, 30 seconds since we revealed ourselves, reported Lieutenant Commander Yang Jae-min. We have eliminated 1,023 enemy vessels. No human casualties. No. We have eliminated 1,011. We have eliminated 1,000. Chief Tactical Officer Bae Yun-seo continued her methodical targeting. Next group of heavy cruisers locked on, Captain. They're trying to form a defensive formation. Fire at will, Choi ordered. Continue targeting capital ships first. Leave the smaller vessels for last if they don't interfere with our operations. 3 more reality disruption beams lanced out from the Defiance. 3 more Zeltharian warships simply ceased to exist. Their matter scattered across dimensions that normal science couldn't even detect. The remaining ships in the formation broke apart in panic, each one trying to escape on its own. On Earth, Dr. Kim Hae-won monitored the battle from the secret command center. She watched as humanity's greatest secret performed exactly as designed. 23 years of planning and preparation were paying off in the most spectacular way possible. The galaxy is watching, she reported to Commander Park Min-jun. We're receiving communications from dozens of species. Most of them can't believe what they're seeing. Park studied the tactical displays that showed the broader picture. In just 6.5 minutes, humanity had destroyed more than half of the most powerful fleet in galactic history. The technology gap wasn't just large, it was incomprehensible. Any word from the Altarian Council? Park asked. They're in emergency session, Dr. Kim replied. Their message was simple. What are humans really? Back on the Defiance, Captain Choi received a priority communication from one of the surviving Zeltharian ships. Admiral Vextar's voice came from his escape pod, no longer filled with arrogance, but with something approaching terror. Human Captain, I formally surrender the entire fleet to your forces. Please stop this destruction. We yield completely. Choi considered the request while his weapons continued firing. Another cruiser vanished. Then, a destroyer. The Zeltharian fleet was shrinking rapidly, but there were still hundreds of ships left. Admiral, Choi replied, your surrender is noted and recorded. However, this demonstration must be complete. Your empire needs to understand what happens when Earth is threatened. But you're slaughtering thousands of beings. No, Admiral. We're ensuring their survival while eliminating their weapons. Our sensors show that 96% of your crews have successfully reached escape pods. Your people will live. Your ships will not. The truth was visible on every sensor screen. The human weapons were impossibly precise, somehow targeting the ships themselves, while leaving escape pods completely undamaged. It was technology so advanced that it seemed like magic to the aliens. Chief Engineer Park Ji-won reported from the engine room. Captain, Quantum collapse engines are running at only 40% capacity. We have enough power to continue this operation for days if necessary. Understood. Continue operations. The systematic destruction continued. Zeltharian ships tried everything they could think of. Some attempted to ram the human vessel, only to pass harmlessly through sections of hull that existed in folded space. Others tried to surrender individually, broadcasting pleas for mercy on all frequencies. Captain Choi responded to these surrender attempts with the same calm professionalism. Your surrender is acknowledged. Please evacuate your vessel immediately. You have 30 seconds before we target your ship. Some alien crews obeyed and escaped in time. Others tried to fight or flee, but the result was always the same. The reality disruption cannons never missed, and they never failed to completely erase their targets from existence. As the 8th minute of the battle passed, the remaining Zeltharian ships began to break formation completely. Some fled toward the edge of the solar system. Others simply powered down their weapons and waited for destruction. A few tried to hide behind larger ships, as if that would help against weapons that could fire through multiple dimensions. Status report, Captain Choi requested. 8 minutes, 37 seconds since engagement began, Yang reported. 1,796 enemy ships eliminated. 251 vessels remaining, including small patrol ships and support craft. Bay looked up from her targeting station. Captain, the remaining ships are mostly non-combat vessels, troop transports, supply ships, and scout craft. Should we continue? Choi considered this carefully. The lesson needed to be complete, but he also needed to ensure that survivors could carry word back to the Zeltharian Empire's territory. Target only ships that show active weapon systems. Allow non-combat vessels to withdraw if they maintain safe distance, and make no aggressive moves. Understood, sir. The final phase of the battle was swift. The remaining Zeltharian warships were eliminated in less than a minute, their crews given time to escape before their vessels vanished from reality. When it was over, only transport ships and a few small scouts remained, all of them broadcasting surrender signals on every frequency they had. Battle complete, Yang announced. Total engagement time, 9 minutes, 42 seconds. Zeltharian Empire fleet eliminated. No human casualties. Estimated alien survivors, 87,000, currently in escape pods or aboard non-combat vessels. Captain Choi activated the ship's external communications one final time. His voice would now be heard not just by the survivors in local space, but by every listening station across the galaxy. This is Captain Choi Sung-hoon of the United Human Naval Ship Defiance, addressing all survivors and all beings monitoring this engagement. The Zeltharian Empire came to Earth with the intention of enslaving or destroying humanity. They brought 2,000 warships to threaten innocent people. He paused, letting his words carry across space to every corner of the galaxy where intelligence beings waited to hear humanity's message. Let this be understood throughout the galaxy. Earth is not defenseless. We are not primitive. We are not weak. We simply choose not to be aggressors. But when our families are threatened, when our children are put in danger, we will respond with absolute force. The communication channels carried only silence as the galaxy absorbed this new reality. To the survivors of the Zeltharian fleet, return to your territory. Tell your leaders what happened here. Tell them that Earth offers friendship to all peaceful species, but destruction to any who would harm the innocent. Captain Choi closed the channel and turned to his crew. Well done, everyone. Mission accomplished. The Defiance hung in space, surrounded by thousands of escape pods and the scattered debris of an empire's arrogance. In less than 10 minutes, humanity had announced its presence to the galaxy in terms that no one could misunderstand. The age of human hiding was over. The age of human protection had begun. 3 months after the Battle of Earth, the galaxy had become a completely different place. Captain Lee So-young stood in the Grand Assembly Hall on the planet Altair Prime, looking out at representatives from 300 different species. The same aliens who had once watched Earth's destruction with sad resignation now looked at her with respect, curiosity, and hope. She was no longer just Earth's chief diplomat. The Galactic Assembly had voted to make her the first official ambassador, representing humanity to all civilized worlds. It was a role that came with enormous responsibility, because everyone now knew what humans were truly capable of. The Zeltharian Empire is no more, she announced to the gathered delegates. Their former territories have been liberated. 47 worlds that lived under their rule for generations are now free to choose their own governments. The hall erupted in discussions as beings from across the galaxy processed this information. Many of them came from species that had been enslaved by the Zeltharians for centuries. The idea of freedom was still new to them. Ambassador Lee continued her report. Humanity has offered technological assistance to help these worlds rebuild. Medical advances, agricultural improvements, and defensive technologies are being shared freely with any species that commits to peaceful development. An alien delegate who looked like a cross between a bird and a tree raised one of his branch-like arms. Ambassador Lee, your species possesses weapons that can destroy entire fleets. How do we know you won't become the next empire to fear? It was a fair question, and Lee had heard it many times over the past 3 months. Because, she said simply, we've had that power for over 20 years, and we never used it until someone threatened our home. If humanity wanted to conquer the galaxy, we would have done it already. Back on Earth, Admiral Park Min-jun stood in the new Galactic Defense Center, watching status reports from across human space. The title was new. He had been promoted after the revelation of humanity's true capabilities, but his duties remained focused on protection, rather than conquest. Report from the Kepler sector, announced Captain Kim Jae-ho, who now served as his aide. The UHNS Defiance has successfully driven off raiders who were attacking the Fralian colonies. No shots fired. The attackers fled as soon as our ship appeared. Park smiled at that. The mere existence of humanity's reality phase technology had become the galaxy's most effective peacekeeping force. Pirates, raiders, and would-be conquerors all thought twice before attacking innocent worlds, knowing that Earth's protectors might appear without warning. Any word from Captain Choi? Park asked. The Defiance is currently providing escort for a convoy of refugee ships from the former Zeltharian territories. 3,000 families are being relocated to new homes on worlds that volunteered to take them. This had become the new pattern across the galaxy. Instead of conquest and slavery, species were cooperating to help those in need. It wasn't perfect. There were still conflicts and problems. But the presence of human technology as a force for good rather than domination had changed everything. Dr. Kim Hae-won entered the command center carrying a data pad filled with the day's scientific reports. Her role had evolved as well. Instead of developing weapons in secret, she now led international teams working to solve problems that had plagued the galaxy for millennia. The medical exchange program is showing remarkable results, she reported. Our research into quantum biology has helped the Venthari overcome their genetic plague. In return, their knowledge of cellular regeneration has advanced human medicine by decades. And the agriculture project? Park asked. Even better. The new growing techniques we've developed with the Altarians can increase crop yields by 300% on desert worlds. We estimate it will help feed over 1 billion beings across 12 systems. This was how humanity had chosen to use its overwhelming technological advantage. Instead of demanding tribute or expanding an empire, they had become teachers, protectors, and friends to species across the galaxy. On the bridge of the UHNS Defiance, Captain Choi Sung-hoon watched a convoy of refugee ships making their way toward their new homes. His vessel remained hidden in fold space, invisible but ready to respond if any threats appeared. The refugees didn't even know he was there, which was exactly how he preferred it. "Captain," reported Lieutenant Commander Yang Jae-min. "Long-range sensors are detecting 3 ships approaching the convoy. Configuration matches known pirate vessels." "Understood. Bring us to full alert, but remain in fold space for now." The pirate ships moved closer to the refugee convoy, clearly planning an attack on the defenseless families. It was exactly the kind of situation the Defiance had been designed to prevent. "Sir, the lead pirate ship is broadcasting a demand for the refugees to surrender their possessions," Yang reported. "Phase us into normal space, directly between the pirates and the refugees," Choi ordered. "Let's remind these criminals why attacking innocent people is a bad idea." The Defiance materialized out of nothing, its massive hull appearing like a nightmare made real for the would-be attackers. The pirate ships immediately reversed course and fled toward the edge of the system as fast as their engines could carry them. "Threat eliminated without firing a shot," Yang noted with satisfaction. "The best kind of victory," Choi agreed. "Resume, fold space, patrol. Let's make sure those families reach their new homes safely." This was the new reality across the galaxy. The same technology that had destroyed the Zeltharian Empire in minutes now served as an invisible shield protecting the innocent. Pirates, slavers, and other criminals had learned to avoid any area where human ships might be patrolling. Back on Altair Prime, Ambassador Lee was concluding her address to the Galactic Assembly. "Humanity has learned that true strength comes not from the power to destroy, but from the wisdom to protect. We have the ability to dominate the galaxy, but we choose instead to nurture it." An elderly delegate from the Crystalline Federation spoke up. "What assurance do we have that future human generations will maintain this philosophy? Power has corrupted many species throughout history." Lee smiled at the question. "Because our children will be raised alongside the children of every species in this assembly. They will grow up together, learn together, and build a future together. It's hard to want to conquer people when you've played games with their children." The truth of this was already visible on Earth itself. The planet had become home to diplomatic families from across the galaxy. Human children played with young Altarians, Venthari, and dozens of other species in Earth's schools and parks. A generation was growing up that saw diversity not as a threat, but as a source of strength and wonder. Dr. Shin Min-ah, the physicist who had helped develop humanity's reality phase technology, now ran the galaxy's first interdisciplinary science academy. Students from hundreds of worlds came to Earth to study alongside human researchers, sharing knowledge that would benefit everyone. "We're working on projects that no single species could accomplish alone," she explained to a group of visiting scientists. "Dimensional engineering, quantum biology, consciousness, transfer technology. These advances require minds from many different worlds working together." 2-1. 2-1. The final scene of this new chapter in galactic history took place in a simple park on Earth. Children from a dozen different species played together on equipment designed to accommodate beings of all shapes and sizes. Their laughter filled the air in frequencies ranging from subsonic to ultrasonic, a symphony of joy that represented the galaxy's bright future. Ambassador Lee watched them play while talking with her counterparts from other worlds. They were planning the next phase of galactic cooperation, joint exploration missions to find new life and new civilizations beyond their current borders. "The galaxy is vast," she told them. "There's room for everyone to grow, explore, and thrive. We just needed to learn how to share it properly." High above them, invisible in fold space, the UHNS Defiance continued its eternal patrol. Captain Choi and his crew kept watch over this growing community of worlds, ready to protect the peace they had all worked so hard to build. The age of empires built on conquest and fear had ended. The age of cooperation, protection, and shared wonder had begun. And at the center of it all stood humanity, not as conquerors or rulers, but as the guardians of something precious and new. The galaxy had learned that humans were indeed full of surprises. The biggest surprise of all was their choice to use ultimate power with ultimate responsibility.